Every time that I come back to India, it hits different. How much of France I carry with me. I just came back from France to India, and here's a video that I didn't think that I would make. These are some of the things that I genuinely miss when I'm not in France. In France, I felt like I could disappear into the crowd. People didn't ask me questions, didn't comment on what I was wearing. What I've noticed is that there's this sense of quiet respect for your personal space. But in India, I feel like everyone wants to know just everything. And I know most of the time it can come from a place of love or just general curiosity, but it can still be just a bit too much sometimes. Also, in the society itself, everyone just looks at each other. I think people stare a lot, no matter what you're wearing or where you're going. People are going to look. I think more or less this is the same in India. But in France, on the other hand, no one really stares, no one looks because people just don't care. You could be wearing anything or you could be doing whatever, and people generally they just don't care, so no one is going to look at you. So this is the first thing that I missed. Now the second point is the lifestyle. As you might know that in India the pressure in the society starts really early, and over time what I've seen is that you start to internalize this societal pressure on yourself. So even now, if I spend a weekend doing nothing or just resting, I tend to feel guilty in my head for not being productive enough. This isn't a pressure coming from outside, it's just an internal pressure that I've started to create for myself. Whereas in France, people genuinely take their time. Mornings are really calm. No one really has a to-do list by 9 a.m. to complete. And most importantly, there's no pressure to constantly be productive. You're allowed to just exist. You can just sit in a cafe and read your book, or just sit in a cafe and not do anything, and no one is going to judge you for that. You will see people chilling in parks on the weekends, and that's completely normal. In India, there's so much energy, and I think this thirst for ambition, and sometimes it can get a bit overwhelming. There's this constant rush. There are no calm mornings or evenings. Everyone is rushing to start their day, and you actually feel it yourself too. In India, it's also a lot about excellency, being the best student or the most productive employee at your job. And this societal pressure can get to you because you see this around you, maybe in your family or even with your friends. There's this silent pressure around success, fame, wealth, and status, which I have not seen in France. In France, people also don't treat your job like it's your identity. Even if you work at the top banks or at the top firms, they still want more out of their life outside of their job. I also feel like in France, there's a very different relationship between work and money. Even if you're a CEO or CFO, you're probably not earning 10 times more than the other employees in the company. So it's not like the US or even India. So in places like France, the income cap is not as extreme. And that is why I think that people don't obsess over their full-time jobs, because they know that you're not going to become a millionaire with your full-time job, even if you're a CFO. And that's why they focus more on living a balanced life outside of their job. They put energy into their hobbies, family, and friends. But in India, as you know, that the wealth distribution is so disproportionate. So I think that people believe that there's always this big opportunity to make it in life. And this is what creates more pressure to just keep pushing until you make it or until you succeed. Now moving on to food. I was obviously the most excited about food when I came to India because of course I love Indian food, and this is something that I miss the most when I'm in France. So I was very excited to eat all of my favorite food again, but now finally I also miss the food in France. And I actually can't believe I'm saying this because I love Indian food so much. The one thing that I miss the most is the baguette and croissant aux amandes. When you walk on the streets of Paris, you can just smell baguette, and it's one of my favorite things in Paris. Even outside of the boulangerie, all of the cafes and restaurants that I discovered in Paris were so good, and I actually miss them a lot. You might not be surprised to know this, but the quality of food in Paris is really good. They always have fresh produce of everything that they make. I would eat out quite a lot, and eating out is actually not as unhealthy as you might think it is, just because all of the ingredients are freshly sourced, and overall the quality of the food is just good. I also discovered so many different cuisines with my friends. One thing that I really miss is the independence that I had in France. In Paris, I could walk or cycle pretty much everywhere around the city, and this is coming from someone who does not like to walk. In India, I never walk outside. I would just take rickshaws or cars to go somewhere because I used to hate walking that much. What I've seen is that in India, the cities are designed more for transportation than for people. You won't really see many people walking or just going out for a stroll in the garden. If someone is walking, they're actually going somewhere. But I think that the streets in India, they're not really built for casual walks. In Paris, you could just step outside without a plan and just walk around the cities because the cities are really meant for walking or cycling. And also, I have to add that Paris felt really safe as a woman. I've traveled in the metro even at night or really early morning, and I always felt really safe. And that is why it gave me a lot of confidence to actually go out more. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this video resonated with you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.